Like our video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content.
Morocco and Canada produced a fascinating tactical battle. Let's break it down. Canada defended in a compact 4-4-2 mid-block, staying very narrow through the middle and willingly conceding possession throughout the first half. Morocco's biggest challenge was progressing the ball from defense into attack. They used several mechanisms to solve that problem. Morocco's left back frequently inverted into central areas, while the attacking midfielder drifted into the left back's original position. This created a midfield triangle, and combinations down the left became one of Morocco's main ways of progressing the ball. The left winger could drop deeper, dragging Canada's fullback with him, allowing Mazraoui to attack the space in behind. It's also worth highlighting the positioning of Morocco's two holding midfielders. One midfielder would position himself inside Canada's pressing block, while the other dropped deeper to dictate play. The two pivots constantly rotated their positions. One would drop deep in one sequence, while the other would do so in the next. Another interesting detail appeared whenever Morocco moved the ball wide. Canada's players immediately tried to close down the flank, but the key factor was the positioning of Canada's left winger. He often tucked inside and stayed very narrow. As a result, whenever Morocco's right back Achraf Hakimi, an extremely attack-minded player, pushed high up the pitch, an important dynamic emerged. Whenever Canada won possession near the touchline, there was often plenty of space through the middle because of the left winger's narrow positioning. That allowed Canada to play an immediate pass into him and launch a counterattack. As we can see in this situation, there's simply nobody close to him. Another important point was the number of turnovers committed by Morocco. They frequently made mistakes while trying to switch play from one side to the other, and once again, Canada's left winger intercepted several of those passes. Since Morocco found it very difficult to progress through central areas, they often tried to build through the flanks instead. Their full-backs took the initiative, attempted to beat defenders one-on-one, lost possession, and that once again led to dangerous situations around Morocco's own goal. As a result, despite defending in a mid-block, Canada actually created more dangerous moments near Morocco's goal during the first half. Another fascinating aspect was Canada's pressing triggers. As mentioned earlier, when one Moroccan holding midfielder positioned himself inside Canada's pressing block, while the other stayed deeper as the playmaker, Canada remained patient. However, the moment both Moroccan holding midfielders stepped into that pressing block, it immediately triggered Canada's press. At that point, Canada's two forwards and both wingers were ready to press Morocco's players man-to-man, as we can see in this sequence. The front four immediately initiate an aggressive one-on-one press. There's another important detail here. Canada's two central midfielders did not push high to mark opponents individually. Instead, they stayed deeper to preserve the team's balance and protect central areas. Because of that, Morocco always had one free player available. In this example, the press shifts toward the flank, and nobody is marking Bouhaddi. Meanwhile, Canada's two central midfielders maintained balanced positions to protect the middle of the pitch. That allowed Morocco to find their holding midfielder inside the pressing structure and continue progressing the ball. Whenever short combinations weren't enough to move the ball forward, Morocco's goalkeeper also became involved, looking to play direct long passes into space, especially since Canada defended with a relatively high backline in this match. I want to highlight Canada's left winger once again. Hakimi constantly joined the attack, while Morocco repeatedly tried to overload Canada's defensive line. Defensively, the left winger's high and narrow positioning didn't really help Canada. Yes, he intercepted several passes and immediately tried to launch counterattacks into the space Hakimi had left behind. One of those transitions even produced a very dangerous chance for Canada. Overall, though, Canada often found themselves in situations where they aggressively pressed on the wings. We can see how high Canada's right fullback pushes, creating huge gaps within the defensive structure. That leaves Canada's left fullback responsible for defending two players at once, because the winger's positioning does nothing to cover the space or support his fullback defensively. As a result, Morocco could have exploited the space in behind, especially the channel between Canada's center back and fullback, or simply switched play diagonally to Hakimi. Another potential weakness in Canada's defensive structure was the way Morocco attacked the space in behind from deep positions. One important detail was that whenever one of Morocco's central midfielders made a forward run from a deeper position, Canada's central midfielder simply didn't track him. It happened repeatedly throughout the match. As a result, one of Canada's center backs had to step out and deal with those runs. The distances within Canada's backline were also enormous. In this example, there's nearly 20 meters between the two center backs. A high defensive line combined with a lack of compactness naturally creates opportunities for runs in behind. Canada's holding midfielders also failed to drop deeper and cover the half spaces, leaving those channels exposed. Because of that, Morocco could repeatedly play passes into the space behind the defense and create dangerous attacks, as we see in this sequence. Another interesting point was that Canada's back four remained intact while Morocco tried to overload them with four attacking players. Canada's defenders marked in a much more man-oriented manner, with each player responsible for his direct opponent. That was one of the main reasons why such large gaps appeared between Canada's defenders, making it much more difficult to track Morocco's runs into depth. Because of that, Morocco often found it easier to progress from defense into attack with direct long passes than through shorter combinations. It's also worth mentioning Morocco's triangle on the right flank, which helped them combine quickly in tight spaces. Despite Canada's defensive flaws, Morocco couldn't fully capitalize on them during the first half. The second half, however, started with an early goal. Morocco launched a quick attack, won a foul out wide, and earned a dangerous free kick. Take a look at Canada's defensive setup. 5 players defend zonally, while 3 mark opponents man-to-man. That leaves one Moroccan player completely free on the edge of the penalty area. As the cross comes in, Morocco's attackers attack the 6-yard box, dragging their markers with them and opening space for the free player outside the box. That player receives the ball with plenty of time to shoot, and Morocco scores after the well-worked set piece with a strike from around 17 meters. The goalkeeper was probably unsighted as well, with several players blocking his view at the moment of the shot. Morocco takes the lead, and from that point, the entire game changes. Canada is no longer sitting in their mid-block. Instead, they have to take control of possession, but they have very little idea of how to break Morocco down. Their attacks become predictable and fairly direct, while Morocco settles into a compact mid-block and looks to counterattack. And that game plan suits Morocco perfectly. As Canada commits more players forward in search of an equalizer, Morocco finds more and more opportunities to attack in transition, with one of those counterattacks eventually leading to another goal. In the 83rd minute, for example, Canada pushes almost everyone forward. Only 2 defenders remain behind, while 5 players are already inside or around the penalty area waiting for a cross. Canada loses possession on the flank and immediately tries to counter-press. But here it's important to highlight the individual quality of Morocco's player, who brilliantly knocks the ball past his opponent and starts a 4 versus 2 counterattack. From there, Morocco has more than enough technical quality to finish the move and score. From a tactical perspective, the first half was particularly fascinating. Canada defended as well as they could, but once they conceded, their entire game plan had to change. That gave Morocco much more space to attack, and they punished Canada for it. Next up, Morocco faces France. I'm hoping for another interesting tactical battle. I still think France is the favorites, but I hope Morocco can create problems for them and make it a competitive match. If you enjoyed this analysis, leave a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you like Canada's performances at this tournament? Do you think Morocco can beat France? And don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth tactical analysis throughout the World Cup.